All right, everybody. Let's go back to Wheelersburg.net. It's time to learn about how to do the reading project. You go to schools, high school. You go to About Us, staff directory. About Us, not Among Us. Okay. And then you click on Pastor. All right, party's over. Sorry, Brett. Brett Michaels. Okay. And let's go to the reading project. There it is. Okay. Select one nonfiction or pastor-approved challenging fiction book. If you make the argument convincingly as to why I should let you read that book, then usually I do let you, and those actually make for really veritably informative reports. I will pass around a sign-up sheet on August 30th, so you're going to have to get a head start on this. It must be over 120 pages. If it's between 100 and 120, let me see it. If it's like double or triple space, I'm going to be like, nah and nope. If it's like crammed in there like some of my Signet classic editions, then I would probably approve it. There's a form to fill out. I'm going to talk, you have to do 2 of the 4 attached charts. I'm going to talk to you in class about how to complete those. But today, I really want to focus on the form because it's not that hard once you read the book. And you should be completing this as you read the book. And pick a book that you're going to like. Pick a book that you're going to have fun with. I've got some recommendations. The Phantom Tollbooth is, vocabulary-wise, it's not that advanced, but conceptually, it's like a Doctor Who episode. I haven't, or a Twilight Zone episode. Now, I've not watched Doctor Who, and I've watched a few Twilight Zones, but I have taught next to Mr. Gilbert for the last 3 years, so I feel like I know enough about both of them. And I roomed with a guy from St. Pete that just loves Doctor Who. He swears by. He's like, Doctor Who, best thing ever. He teaches English for. Actually, he's an administrator now, so he doesn't have any time. So let's start with the first question. In what ways did this book challenge you? Maybe it was boring and it was a challenge to stay awake, so you had to find some really strong coffee. I recommend Adam's Flying Pig as well as Wendy's. Utilize every line and don't just come up with filler. Give meaningful content. I don't know if you've been told in the past like 5 to 7 sentences per paragraph. That's a load of crap. And I'm recording, and I don't care if somebody gets offended by it. I'm offended. Like I care. Okay. 5 to 7 sentences. What the heck? Don't count your sentences. Math is annoying enough as it is. Don't count your sentences. Make your sentences count. And the more meaningful content you put in there, the more naturally the thoroughness and the depth will emanate from your keyboard or your pen. Most students do this by hand. Some use Kami if we still have it. What did the book start out discussing? You could start this as soon as you start the book. How did that evolve from the beginning to the middle? Evolved? Nope, don't think so. Okay. In the middle, you can answer this. And in the end, be thorough, descriptive, detailed. If you do this, if you answer number 2 as you go through the book, you'll have no problem with your depth. Describe 2 of the book's characters. So if it's fiction. So let's say you do The Alchemist. You're going to have The Alchemist, of course, which you've got to read like 100 pages into the book to get to him. And you're going to have Santiago, okay? And you might have Fatima as well. And you describe their personalities. Act like you're introducing them to a friend. Or if it's a character you don't like, if you're introducing them to an enemy. But what if you read a nonfiction book? What are 2 topics? And how would you characterize them? Give us details. Okay? If you're reading the book Amusing Ourselves to Death, television is a topic, radio is a topic, Sesame Street is a topic. Characterize them there. All right. When was the book set in time? If it's the modern day, setting the modern day. If you're not sure about this one, let me know. From point of view, you should have covered that last year, but in case you didn't, is it first person? Is it third person? Does it go back and forth? What were some attributes of the book's natural or intellectual setting? This is one that students struggle with when they have a nonfiction book. There's no natural setting! If you're reading The Alchemist, the dude is going across the desert. So, there's sand. There's lots of sand. It's dry, but there's an oasis. He even goes for a walk at midnight at the oasis. What a horrible song. Okay. So you can describe all that. There's a churchyard. There are pyramids. There's a tea shop. Okay. But if it's a nonfiction book, what's the intellectual setting? I'll go back again to amusing ourselves to death. The intellectual setting is the effect of media on people's attention spans. So describe that. Describe what the media is like. Describe what our attention spans are like and how horribly short they've become. What? Hey, what? Okay. You can also, if you're reading Founding Father, the intellectual setting is the ideology of the American founding, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, all that great stuff that's in the Declaration of Independence, which I may or may not have stolen with Nicolas Cage. If you know, you know. What perspectives are included? Maybe it's just the authors. Then go in depth about him. Well, he's boring. Then criticize him. Lambast him. Okay. Thoroughly analyze and evaluate how the book ended. Did it stink? Was it a horrible ending? How would you have redone it? Or was it a great ending? Why were you so surprised? Why were you so astounded? Did the author do an effective job of writing like a writer, or did it get boring? Cite 5 examples and explain them to me. If they did not write well, then give 5 examples and how you could write them better. But I can't write better than the author. I'm just a high school kid. I'm just an English student. Hey, write like a writer, not like a good little English student. If the author was crap, then revise his work. Turn the crap into chocolate. To which of your friends or acquaintances would you recommend this book? If you hated the book, then find 5 people you don't like very well. Don't go into details as to why. I don't need to know your drama. Just, maybe you don't like, Jimmy Fallon. Maybe you don't like Conan O'Brien. Maybe you don't like Arsenio Hall. I'm really going back there. Okay, maybe you don't like Tom Cruise. Okay, there you go. Find 2 articles about current events in the world outside of the United States, and then evaluate how well they're written, how they relate to the book. Full paragraph down there. There's some other specifics on there. If you go to my webpage, there is a link to World Link. So let's say you go to the Africa Report, and let's say you read The Alchemist or Amusing Ourselves to Death. Yes, I agree. Okay. Ivory Coast presidential election. Okay, obviously this is a struggle for power. That can go with The Alchemist. That can go with Amusing Ourselves to Death, or any book you really read. Okay, or truly any book that you read. I think I misspoke there. All right, let's go back into the project, wherever it is. There we go. Number 12, 6 challenging words the author incorporated. Maybe the author didn't utilize any words that challenge you. Find words that the author should have upgraded, and then explain why he or she should have upgraded. And now comparatives. Take 3 to 5 sentence paragraph from this book, or an excerpt. Take an excerpt, put it here. Think of an author you've read in the past. The guy from The Most Dangerous Game, you'll have to look up his name. Guy de Maupassant from The Necklace. And how would he or she rewrite that? Maybe it's Shakespeare. Maybe it's Poe. Okay? And no, you may not translate it into binary code, because Sheldon Cooper hasn't written any books. Bazinga. All right. 2 charts that you have to do. Setting. I love the setting, theme, characters chart. You can keep track of this as you go through. Foreshadowing. If they did not do any foreshadowing, then make sure that you specify. I'm reading Little Women, and there's like all this foreshadowing about one of the characters that you've got to be obvious to miss. The style chart. Find some quotes, and then what element of style does it go with? You can cross these out and use imagery more than once, sensory details more than once. Tracking the plot, you break the book into 4 parts. This is especially true if you have a fictional book. You break it into 4 parts and then list details underneath. If it's a nonfiction book, you break it into 4 parts and list details underneath. So I guess it's not all that different. And then the tone. What's the author's attitude? Give 3 quotes that prove it, and then write a paragraph why. And then there's a blank page for no good reason. So that's how to complete the reading project. I hope you like it. I don't know what happened to the band Poison. There we go. I know they liked it. Have a great day, everybody.